That's caught. Randall Cobb into Chicago territory. Randall Cobb inside the 20-yard line. Randall Cobb is going to score.
Welcome in, everybody, to another edition of Open Book here on Game On Wisconsin. I'm Eli here with Jen and Zach, as always. Got a special episode this week if you haven't seen already, but we've got an interview with the legendary LeRoy Butler coming up in just a few minutes. Bob, you wanted to just say hi, cover some news. So, Jen, Zach, how you guys doing? I know we just spoke yesterday, but yeah. How you guys doing this week?
You're giving me the floor?
I guess
giving you the floor.
I guess. I mean, I'm still kind of just like riding the high from yesterday. Like, it's almost surreal, that interview we had. So I'm in a really good mood about it.
Yeah,
same here. I'm really excited for everybody kind of like to be able to experience what we experienced, because as I tweeted, like, he was just like, his energy was just like, it was captivating, you know. And,
yeah,
you know, a couple of us were going into the interview kind of like with a little nerves, you know, because it's LeRoy Butler, you know. But he just completely made those evaporate just with a couple words, you know. He was just so damn good and just such a great presence to have on the show. And like I said, I'm really excited for everyone to see it.
Yeah, he was really, like Zach said, I was a bit, nervous. I think we all were, but he is probably the coolest person that has ever lived. So it was pretty great. But before we get to that, just a couple of quick pieces of news. We got Will Redmond re-signing with the Packers. So basically, we're going to see a very identical team to what we saw last year, outside of maybe, Corey Linsley, a couple of pieces. But Will Redmond's back, and then we couldn't have a show without quickly mentioning the GOAT, Aaron Rodgers, taking over as Jeopardy host, looking quite dapper in all of his suits and his slick back hair. He's got it going on. So have you guys been watching Jeopardy, or you've just been following along on Twitter?
I've just been kind of following along. When it runs, doesn't really flow with my schedule, unfortunately, so I've missed most of it, but I'm seeing the important stuff, I think.
All right, well, I'm happy your priorities are not straight, but continue. Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, same. I mean, Twitter pretty much has me covered. I feel like the perception of Jeopardy is like only old people like sit down and watch Jeopardy like during the weeknight. So like, I don't want to play into the narrative that my friends have of me, where like they call me old because I'm 26, which apparently is old. I disagree, but so yeah, no, I've been following on Twitter and pretty much, and good for him. You know, it's his dream apparently. That's what he wants to do. So see, I'm already getting roasted in the comments right here. You see what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I wasn't kidding.
No one can believe you're 26. Yeah.
Yeah, Eli and I are young 24-year-olds, but
well, almost. Look, I'll beat you to 25. So
yeah,
very excited about that opportunity. But Jeopardy. I mean, I watched a couple episodes, but it made me feel really dumb that I knew like one answer and it was football related, and I was like, I don't know enough about the world, clearly, but that's fine. As long as
at least you knew the football one, though.
Exactly. If I didn't know the football one, then I'd be really sad. And then that guy who wrote the question about the Bucs game, which we won't go into, not a fan of that person.
That game never happened. So.
Yeah, that game. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I didn't drive 3 hours to Green Bay and freeze my ass off just to be heartbroken. That definitely didn't happen. But let's jump into this interview because it's really fun, and I think you're all going to really enjoy it. So, Jen and Zach, unless you have anything else you want to say, go ahead.
We also here everyone at Open Book and also at Game On Wisconsin, we also want to send our condolences to Aaron Jones' father, Alvin Jones, who passed away. News happened yesterday. I'm not sure exactly when he passed away, but that was when we all found out.
Yeah, definitely want to send our best to Aaron and his family and just wishing them the best through this tough time. Aaron, I don't know if you guys got a chance to read Aaron Jones's article in the Players Tribune, but if you haven't, I definitely recommend doing that. Speaking about his father coaching him from the time he could walk, never missed a game, always there for him, supportive. And you see the way, what Aaron Jones turned into, the kind of man he is, how respectful he is. And obviously, that comes from your parents. And obviously he had a big role in his life. So I'm just wishing Aaron the best and his family the best. And hope they're all, we'll be feeling good soon. But on that note, let's get to some more fun stuff with LeRoy Butler, because trust me, it's going to be fun. He's a funny guy. So let's do this. Hopefully I'll be able to figure this out without messing up. Here we go.
We are very honored and grateful to have the great LeRoy Butler here with us today. 4-time All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowl, Super Bowl champion. So LeRoy, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Jen. Is it just going to be me and you, or Eli and Zach going to pop in?
Yeah, they'll talk every once in a while. But
I'm sorry.
Every now and then we'll try.
He was already trying to bash you guys. I was all for it.
Yeah, you like that, huh? You like when we get attacked.
I did, yeah. He only wants to talk to me, obviously.
I think that, I have 6 daughters, so and I have a son though, LeRoy Butler the fourth. He's definitely my favorite. Definitely. But I want to know, before we get started with me, leave me out of this. How did you guys get together, and who reached out to my people?
Well, I reached out to Nathan via your website.
I knew it.
So,
I knew it.
yeah, I was going to give him a little shout out, thank him for putting all that together and making sure that we could make this possible. And then you, of course, for agreeing to come on.
Oh, of course. I mean, I think for the most part, and we were talking about this off air, that a lot of you weren't, well, none of you really was born. Jen said she was 5, but we'll just go with that. If her family, no, she was actually 7. It's okay. But I think the reason why I agreed to do it is I think the show needs a bigger platform. And I would love to be a part of this. So when you guys are big and famous in a few years, I can say I was on that show. That's really and I have a rule, real quick. I have a rule with myself. I try to do as many podcasts of startups, just the 2 buddies sitting in a basement. One is in California, one's in Florida. They really don't even have to like the Packers, but I like to do those shows instead of the bigger networks, because I don't think people really know a lot about you when you go on those networks, because it's kind of like, it depends on what agenda it is. But this, I try to make, not to mention, you have to have people to help find a time. And you guys were so gracious, because I can pick a time that works for me and you guys, then we can just talk and have fun. And I've said that for the last 15 years. I told Nathan, find me people that needs to put their platform out there. Just, can we get 50 requests a day? But what leaped Jen to the front of the line was the way you present it. Because you got to assume that I won't see it, but the way you presented it, Jen, is if I will see it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, and I actually see everything, but I don't care to, well, anyway. So, shout out to you guys, and hopefully we can have some fun and answer some questions, and millions of people will watch it and download it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, millions.
Yeah, and I guess we never answered his question on how we kind of know each other.
How did this work?
That is a good question.
We kind of all knew each other through Twitter, covering the Packers, being Packer fans, stuff like that. And when Game On Wisconsin was originally created, the creator, Jacob Westendorf, kind of reached out to me about maybe doing a show, something like this, maybe break down some film, talk Packers. And then me and Zach hooked up, and it was It was a great combo. And then Jen joined in a little bit after we started, only made the show a lot better, of course. And
wouldn't have me if it wasn't for her. I mean,
exactly. Jen's doing the real work now, and me and Zach are just kind of writing that. But that's basically how we all put the show together. And look, Packers Twitter is a strong thing. You make a lot of great friendships through there.
Okay, Zach, your turn.
That was really that, because before this, I mean, Eli and I, we never really interacted that much.
Oh, that makes it even better.
We were just pretty much Twitter acquaintances. Pretty much everybody on Packers Twitter, like everybody knows of each other.
Yes.
Jacob said, "Hey, what would you guys think of working together?" So we said, "Hey, let's give it. We'll give it a shot." And we meshed well. We vibed well. The show was going well. And then we added Jen now as the third part of our trio, completed everything, and she, as Eli said, it's she carries the show. She keeps us in check. We're just two guys. We need her to kind of like keep this whole thing together.
Oh, cool. Now, Jen, what did you think when Nathan got back to you and said it's a possibility?
I mean,
it wasn't an April Fool's joke now.
No, I mean, I was just surprised because usually, you reach out to people, maybe reach out to 20 people, get one response. So I was just really blown away. And right away, I screenshotted it, sent it to these guys. I was like, don't freak out, but we may or may not have LeRoy Butler on the show at some point. So immediately excited. And Nathan was really good at communicating with me, which was awesome. So he seemed pretty adamant about making sure we could make it work, because obviously we had to change times and everything. So just really grateful for that.
Yeah, that's fine. I think one of my biggest goals is how can I help people? And I'm going to try to get some of because it's the 25th year of us winning the Super Bowl, and I'll try to get some more guests on for you guys. So I'll help you out with that. I'll only get the guys that are entertaining, though. They're laying, sleeping, and don't have good questions to ask.
We won't turn anyone away.
I'll give you platinum people, which is pretty much everybody. They're good people. But we'll talk about that later. This is about you guys right now. So y'all do whatever you want. You got full range to go wherever you want to go. No ex-girlfriends, though, because don't believe that.
All right, that's off limits. That's the deal.
All right, I'll cross that one off our question list. Well, Eli, do you want to kind of start it off then?
Yeah, sure. Well, LeRoy, I didn't know this honestly until a couple days ago, but I saw you grew up being forced to wear some leg braces and even use a wheelchair at times. You had some issues with your legs, and I was curious how you overcame something like that growing up to not only obviously, be able to walk and run and use your legs properly, but end up becoming an NFL star. That just seems like a crazy road of recovery and work. So I was just curious how you did that.
And I think that's the reason why we was talking off air that I like doing this, because people my age, around 52, actually I look 22, but hey, that's me. They kind of know my story. I think I have 4 assistants, and actually Daniel Plucker, he's the youngest one. He's like in his late 20s. He wasn't even around when I was playing, but so when he grew to know my story, I think we connected quicker. But Nathan is a huge Packer fan because he lives in the area, so he kind of knows. The other 2 people, to tell you the truth, they're LeRoy Butler fans, but they're not Packer fans. But it works because I get different perspectives. But growing up for me, guys, and it was tough, and it's hard to believe it happened. I just remember African American in the projects. Every single day, I used to worry my mom about playing the NFL, because we go to church all the time in Florida, all the time. I say after church, I love watching the NFL, and at that time, I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I had club feet. My feet were extremely pigeon-toed, so they had to put these Forrest Gump braces on my legs to keep them straight. So sometimes I had to be in a wheelchair to get around. And my mom, who was my everything, role model and everything, she was just telling me, just kind of shaped me for school, because kids were, I mean, they were ruthless because I was special needs. I was in the special ed department. I needed help. And my teachers were amazing. And I just kept telling everybody that would listen, I want to play in the NFL. But when you see a kid coming from poverty, a lot of kids just like, that's never going to happen in lunch. And I was like, no, it's going to happen because I believe it. And my mom was telling me, these are the steps you got to take. Because at one point, I really couldn't believe it myself. I really couldn't. But everything seemed to be working out for me. So I had a vision long time ago to get my mom out of the projects, to help my sisters and brothers. I mean, I was a late bloomer to everything. I didn't play little league sports like my grandson. Yes, I do have three. My grandson played football like flag at 5. At 6, they're doing tackling with the little bobblehead helmets. They're so little. I didn't do any of that because I was disabled. So, and then it went further. My son, LeRoy Butler IV, he is on the spectrum of autism. And so he's special needs. And I teach him to be like me. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. It's just like you guys starting your show. So basically, Eli, I learned from my parents and my family, if you really want to play in the NFL, there's certain things you have to do, and they taught me those things.
Wow. Yeah, no, I just thought it was a wild story to overcome that. And then, like you said, I mean, so you didn't even play football really up a lot. And then to get to where you did that's just incredible. So that's really cool.
Yeah, that kind of, I mean, it adds to the legend of LeRoy Butler, you know, and like you said, it preaches that message that like anything you could do, if you want to do it, just go for it. Do it regardless of whatever's hindering you, whatever the obstacle is in your way, just go for it. You know, I feel like if more people knew that, maybe now they will, now that they've seen this. You know, that's just going to add, like I said, to the legend and the legacy that you've already carved for yourself.
And that's a good point, Zach, because I want parents to know that if you got a special needs kid, like I do, and I was, it's fine. We're in this together. I mean, it's one of these things that I would always go to my grandmother's house because there was always food, right? And it's free babysitting. It's amazing. You just go there. Grandma got everything for you. So I love grandparents. But my grandmother would teach me life lessons. When everybody went to the pool, play little league sports, chasing butterflies, do whatever you do as a kid, I couldn't do it. I was always restricted unless I had help. But she would teach me things. And so would my mom. One thing my mom taught me was to be a domestic person, to cook. And I'm an executive chef. I mean, I love to cook. When me and my wife got married, we had an agreement. Actually, when I met her, we had an agreement. You take care of the kids. I'll pay the bills. I'll cook, clean, wash the clothes, buy the clothes, do everything, cook 7 days a week, but just keep the kids away from me.
That sounds like a good plan.
So we got a 16 and a 17-year-old. Every day every day. I'm like, oh, I don't want. Nope. Go talk to your mom. So we get along great. But if I didn't learn those kind of domestic, because see, if you do something else, it lowers the temperature. People say, you know what? They don't even see the disability because I'm forcing them to come in my lane when you need help. And that's why doing shows like this is what every athlete should do. I mean, anybody can go into big networks and, millions of people see you, but only 15, 20, 30, 40, 30,000 parents see it and say, I think I'm alone. I'm dealing with a disabled child. You're not, because LeRoy Butler says a disabled son, and he's the happiest kid. And he may never do the Lambeau Leap. I'm fine with that. I just want me to be happy. And that's what my mom told me. If it doesn't work, you go into the NFL, I'm going to still teach you how to be a good person. And then eventually you'll get whatever you want.
Yeah, that's fun to hear. I'm actually a special education para at a middle school. So
yay!
But we do have a couple
school?
sports.
What school?
I'm out here in Minnesota, so Centennial Middle School.
Hey, we going to Mall of America this weekend. I'm always in Minnesota.
I'm like 40 minutes from it.
Oh, well, before we leave, I'll tell you a story about not the Vikings, but about Minnesota. But I just love teachers, so go ahead. I apologize.
Well, no, I was just gonna say we do offer some sports. In the fall it's soccer, in the winter it's floor hockey, and in the springtime it's softball. So
Nice.
It is fun to be able to get them to be active and watch them go out. And they just have so much fun with it. And they've won state, been to state, stuff like that. So there is really no limit to sports around here.
Oh, nice. Now, did you grow up a Viking fan? Are your family a Viking fan?
No, my dad's from Madison, Wisconsin. So
okay, Dad.
Not going to let that happen.
Well, I got two nephews. One of them just moved to Minneapolis. He's coming to see me this weekend. I said, "You're not coming to see me unless you've been vaccinated." Oh, yeah. He's a doctor, by the way. Good time.
Oh, yeah.
He was saying he get the toughest time there, but people are nice to him now because they know he's my nephew.
Oh, yes.
That's fun,
got
right?
that connection.
Yeah. But hey, he's a doctor. I may need him one day. You never know. Thank you for being a teacher, because I think the most impressionable age is middle school, because for me, the worst time of my life probably was middle school, because I'm old enough to kind of know what's going on and why. Because when I was young, I didn't know why the kids were picking on me. But when you're in middle school, you kind of know.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any friends. And it was okay with me because I wanted to talk to the smartest people in the world, which were my teachers. They got all this knowledge, and I just wanted to just sit in the front of the classroom and say, just help me. And one of the ones, I had a reading disability, reading. And Miss Gordon, I'll never forget, I put her in my book, LeRoy Butler story. And she just helped me bring the anxiety under control and just read. So even now I have an anxiety with teleprompters if I didn't write it. Because in my mind, I'm thinking somebody's going to put a word in I'm not supposed to say. I'm thinking they're going to move it too fast, or they're going to move it too slow. Then I'm like reading it too slow, or if it might look like I'm reading it. But if I write it, I memorize it. Oh, no problem. So the anxiety of that, teachers were great with that, especially if you're a young kid.
Yeah, it's challenging, of course, but it's also very rewarding. So kind of sticking with that school stuff, I know Eli had a special question about college days that he wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw a play back from 1988 that ended up being called the punt ruski.
Hey, you said it right, Eli. No,
yeah.
you said it right.
Yeah, no, it took me a few times practicing, but I think I finally got it. But yeah, I mean, with on fourth down with a minute and a half left and in a tie game, you go a fake punt and go 78 yards to set up the game-winning field goal. I mean, that sounds like as crazy as a game-winning kind of play as it gets. I just wanted to know if you can maybe just take us through that play. If you were ready for it in practice, the coach told you it was coming, or it was kind of just a last-minute decision.
Well, Coach Bobby Bowden at FSU, he was one of these guys that was like, I'm in it to win it. No ties. And he was very aggressive. But I remember leading up to that game, Burt Reynolds, bless him, he bought us some new uniforms. And normally we call it garnet, but it's really maroon. We just try to be high class. Garnet and gold. So he was like, well, what if I get you guys all white? I said, hey, all right. It makes you look bigger, but I think we can we're all ripped up. It don't matter. But we were excited. We're going to play a top 5 team, Clemson, and their place is called Death Valley. It's raining. They do all this stuff going on before the game, and we're just sitting there like, man, y'all just don't know. So Florida State, we were very, very arrogant, very loquacious. Any word, pompous, we were all of that. We would dance, and we got a pig. We wore these long towels, the referees would just laugh. Deion Sanders was like the punt returner, top corner in the world. Well, anyway, in the fourth quarter, we were like losing the game, and coach said if we punt, we're never going to get the ball back. But on third down, Chip Ferguson was the quarterback. He threw a pass, but he got hit, and the guy dropped it. That could have been the end of the game. He got dropped. He dropped it. So it's fourth down. The punt team comes on. I'm already on the punt team, so it didn't look weird.
Yeah.
As I'm going out there, Coach Bowden says, "Run it." I was like, "Are you sure?" Yeah, run it. He always used to cover his mouth. This was before these coaches walk around with like, so you can't see their play calling. Nobody can read your lips, dude. Nobody can read your lips. If they can, they're in New England. That's a
Got him.
So when I was telling the guy, hey, we're gonna run it as we're running on the field, they didn't believe me. They didn't believe. So we're backed up on like 20, and it's raining. What if we slip? Don't worry about it. Just run it. So we got in the position. Dane Williams, he's the up back. The center snaps it to him instead of the punter. The punter jumps if the ball went over his head. So 80,000 people stood up like, yeah, they're looking for the ball. And next thing you know, I take off running because Dane put it between my legs. And I'm running down the sideline thinking, just get the first down, just get the first down. Hey, I'm by myself. I was never a fast guy. But when I got to like the 50, I said, oh, it's a guy chasing me. So I'm looking back as I'm running and I'm getting tired. I'm running. I said, oh, I forgot about the returner. It was a returner, Donnell Wolf, returner guy. Oh, I see him. So then I try to get up more speed. He knocked me out, I think, at the 3. And Richie Andrews was the hero. He kicked the winning field goal, and we beat them. And it was Bino Cook said it best. I think he was with ESPN. He said that was the best play since My Fair Lady. And when I go down south, guys, past like Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina, they don't even ask about the leap. They always say, hey, tell us about the punt ruski. Like at airports, hey, there he is. Because I had these, they made me some Butler Did It shirts. The Butler Did It. I was like, this is amazing. So it put me on a national stage. That was my junior year. My senior year, I was a preseason All-American because of that play. After that, I actually played pretty well. But, yeah, that was an amazing play. That play put me in a position to say for people to watch me more, like scouts and media people, because they had no idea, they just thought I was an average guy. But if Coach Bowden picked you, he may pick you because you may be pretty good.
Yeah, you go 80 yards on fourth down with a minute left. Yeah, that'll get some attention for sure.
Yeah, so you're talking a lot about, you played in Florida, obviously, but so you grew up in Florida, played college in Florida. How was the transition then when you had to come play in Wisconsin at the frozen tundra?
It was rough. It really was. I mean, I remember when I got drafted, draft night. I just remember Lee Rimmel called me. He said, we're going to draft you with the 48th pick. And I was so excited. And at the time, I was the biggest Cowboy fan. Huge.
Oh, no.
Florida, they force you to watch Cowboy games. We have 3 channels, whatever network, they're closed. You can only watch the Cowboys. I don't know what kind of propaganda it was, but it worked. That's all kids down, because it wasn't Tampa or Miami. Nope, it was just the Cowboys. And they had us in the America's team stuff. So I'm hoping I'll go there. I had an uncle who's a huge Bears fan. Huge. He's sitting there with a Walter Payton jersey. He says, go anywhere but the Packers. I don't get a chance to choose.
Yeah.
So the phone rings, and we got rotary phones. You got to Google that. We got a rotary phone.
No, my grandma still has one. So.
Oh, good for grandma.
In Illinois, where she grew up a Bears fan.
Nice. Well, I like her. She's a great grandma. Told you I love grandparents. And I tell you what, it changed my life when I got that phone call. And this what made me stay here weather included. I was on the plane going to my press conference, and it was me and my girlfriend, and it was a guy I'd never met before. The pilot came on and says, "A beautiful day in Green Bay. The wind has come from the north. It's a beautiful 17 degrees." And it was like May 2nd. I had on shorts. I had on like just a shirt. I mean, I didn't even pack any winter clothes or spring. We left Jacksonville, it was like 82. So some guy I never met before gets up and his wife and give us their Packer coat, their jackets.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
These people, I know all fans like this. I land, it's like 1,000 people there. They got signs up, LeRoy Butler, blah, blah. I'm like, man, do these people have jobs? What's going on? Draft pick. What's the big deal? And I'm a second round. And I was a holdout for 3 days. It wasn't my fault, though. That's what made me say, I love it here, because the people are just so amazing. It really, I mean, it really. So when it was cold, I used to just tell my kids, just stay inside, But it was very nice. But it was a transition, playing in cold games and stuff like that. But just the fans are just so amazing.
Yeah. When they're in the stands, they don't feel the cold either. So
I'm gonna tell you, the first game I saw, I think it was 1991. I don't know who we were playing. It was about 15, but the wind chill, probably like 4. I saw 4 guys with their shirts off.
yeah, there's always at least one.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know what they're drinking. I don't know what they're eating, but get me some of that. That's a real man. Everybody looked at me like, you would never do that. Precisely, I'm not a real man. I need Reggie White for help. This guy's sitting there cheering for us with his shirt off in the cold weather. I made my mind up at that moment that I'm going to stay a Packer the rest of my life. I took 3 pay cuts to stay a Packer the rest of my life.
Wow, well, we appreciate you sticking around, because, definitely a Packer legend.
I know that story.
Yeah.
And that's something that's it's not common these days to stay where you started. So I'm sure that's extra special then to know that you started and finished here.
Exactly, Jen, because you can look at the Aaron Rodgers stuff. Every day is something about him, his contract, keeping him here, and they drafted Jordan Love, and he just got engaged. He's doing Jeopardy, having fun, but he's no guarantee he'll be here for the next 3 years. So you really don't get a chance to see. You would think Tom Brady would stay with the Patriots, but things have changed now. Back in the 90s, it was a big deal to stay with your original team if you could, because free agency wasn't as big as it is now. It was just getting started with Reggie White. But I think for the most part, guys want to, but it's a business, and we all understand that.
I'm glad you mentioned Reggie White, because when you guys added him in '93, you're bringing in probably the greatest free agent acquisition ever, and
Thanks.
I have him over my shoulder every single week right here.
Thanks.
What was the impact just of his presence? Because he's, on the field, obviously, he's just this monstrous man who's just going to just completely dominate the field. But off of it, he just seemed like such a gentle giant, a really kind soul. So what was like his impact really like on the field and off of it?
Talking about Reggie is emotional, because if it wasn't for Reggie, 2 things probably wouldn't happen. Oh, we won't know, but it helps my argument. There wouldn't be a free agency. They used to have what they call Plan B. They will protect the good players, everybody else get crumbs. Reggie sued the NFL and was the first free agent, and he was the biggest free agent. So there's no way the smallest market can land him. So this is historic, unprecedented free agency. They strike for things like this. And Reggie White's in San Francisco. And Ron Wolf and Mike Holmgren, I mean, they really stole him a great message. You know, you can go anywhere and be a great player, but you can come to the Packers and be a legend. And it's just, I don't think, maybe it would have a few years later, but it was hard to get free agency. But Reggie was saying, hey, that's what I want to do. And the other thing, I don't think we would have won a championship. Because when you get guys in the locker room from 21 to 31, they're not all on the same page. So Reggie got everybody on the same page. You know, Reggie was like, let's build a committee. Me, Brett Favre, Reggie, Mike Pryor, and Frank Winters, and Desmond Howard. And let's just find out what the locker room needs. We got you. So we would meet with the players, talk to them, see what they wanted, blah, blah, blah. And then we would meet with Holmgren. And we told him how we feel, and we need to do this, and this. And that was in like 95 season. I mean, no, the Super Bowl season. But the year before Desmond and got there, we lost to Dallas in the 95 championship game. So when we added Andre Rison, Desmond Howard, and these guys, when we put the committee together that year, it was men on that committee say, listen, it's about the pros and the Joes. But without the Joes, we can't go anywhere. We don't want special treatment because I'm all pro. I want everybody just a family. And that Reggie White is the only guy can get a 21-year-old guy to think like a 31-year-old guy. Otherwise, it won't work. It just won't work.
So he had that kind of uncanny ability to kind of just unite everybody, get everybody, like you said, on the same page, regardless of their status on the team or in the locker room. And
sounds like one of Zach's favorite current players right now.
Uh-oh.
Who are you thinking
Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Big dog, yeah, but Big Dog talk. You
Exactly.
like you said a bad word and your uncle walks in or your grandma.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love him. I'm glad they brought him back. Exactly. Well, the same there, we saw Reggie Big Dog. That was his nickname, Big Dog.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you knew that or not, but that was awesome.
The original.
Yeah, the original.
The original Big Dog.
Yeah, Mercedes probably wasn't even born yet. Reggie, it's just like this is a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so I know Eli had questions about another obviously important player on that championship team.
Yeah, I was going to say, once we're speaking about the great Reggie White, I guess we have to speak a bit about Brett Favre. And, I mean, just his personality. You know, you see the mic'd up of him on the sidelines and all the jokes and the fun he would have. What was it like playing not only with a player like that, but for them to be the quarterback of the team, I guess, you know, the de facto kind of leader, at least of the offense. Mm-hmm. And for him to be that outgoing and fun-loving and all that, you don't see that a lot, at least out of quarterbacks anymore. So what was that like playing with someone like Brett Favre?
Yeah, he was. Oh, Zach, did you? I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you want to finish your point? I cut you off.
Oh, no. By all means, you're good, man.
Oh, okay. I apologize.
I appreciate that.
I wrote a book with a couple of years, 4 or 5 years ago, and we were talking about great teammates. And I said, I love all my teammates. I really do. But I thought Brett Favre was the best teammate. And here's why. This is how I broke it down. When you're a free agent, it's different. When you're traded, it's different. When you're drafted, it's different. He was coming from Atlanta, third string quarterback. Okay, you come over here. We already had Don Majkowski. I mean, the Magic Man. I mean, it's easy. But they went out and got Brett. And when you're in the locker room, you got some of the younger players playing Sega Genesis and Atari. Don't Google that. You got some of the African American guys listening to hip hop. You got some of the white guys playing backgammon, listen to country if they want. You got the older guys trying to go hunting and talk about shooting deers all day long. I don't know why. Then you have the other guys that don't want to be bothered. Just leave me alone. So that's a big melting pot of people. Brett Favre goes to every culture and fits in. Most people don't do that. You go to your locker and you basically, when you're coming to somebody else's team, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toe. I just want to be here to play football. So he had his blinders up for anything negative. You know, he was one of the best teammates. I mean, the guy was amazing. He just wanted to play. I remember he threw an interception in practice. He was so distraught. I'm like, listen, wait. It's part of the game. It's my job to get it back. You and the family. I've given up touchdowns. Only a few, though. Brett, I'm turning off. I'm dejected. Brett, hey, Roy Lee, I got you. Boom, boom, boom. He threw for like 4 touchdowns. Told you I had you. That's what you have to have that in a locker room if you want to win a championship. And just nothing bothered him, man. He was just so easy to approach. It was just like most quarterbacks, they're a little because they seem superior because they're making more than everybody, sometimes triple more than people. But with Brett, you never even know he had money. We wore the same jeans 3 times, cuz. In training camp, we have 2 pair of shorts, 2 shirts, and socks, tennis shoes, and flip-flops. That's it for 6 weeks. Now you wash them out in the sink and hang them up. Like, why do the veterans do that? And they do it because they don't want to waste on laundry and stuff like that. So it actually was pretty brilliant.
Yeah, that sounds like a great teammate to have. Just someone who can just be a part of every aspect of the locker room. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's what I would imagine Brett Favre would be like, but definitely cool to hear an inside perspective of what he was like in the locker room.
Yeah, he was an amazing guy. He was a very amazing guy. I had all my teammates were great, but some of them were different on a different level. So.
Yeah, and just to I know we have questions specifically for you, but one last question about teammates. I noticed that Edgar Bennett, you went to the same high school, Robert E. Lee, then you both went to Florida State University and then reconnected again with the Packers. So what was it like being able to kind of connect with him throughout your whole
Say hi.
Hi.
Okay, now leave me alone. Who let them in? Edgar Bennett, me and him are truly amazing because we played high school, we played college, and the Packers drafted him. So we were always together, and people always say we look alike. Who was always together. I was at his draft party when the Packers drafted him, and it was the 4th round. I was like, oh man, because he was supposed to go out, I think, in the 2nd.
Okay.
He was so distraught. I felt bad for him. I really did. And I said, man, I think the Packers are going to select you. In the 4th round, they selected him, and it changed his whole. I mean, he had a great career, but he's obviously one of my favorites.
Yeah, and you guys, I mean, I don't think he played that Super Bowl year I read, but
right.
You guys still got to go win a Super Bowl. Guy you played high school ball with, you go out and win a Super Bowl. It's got to mean something special.
Oh, he was one of the happiest people for me. I mean, I got a lot of calls and texts because I think people understood not only what I went through, but how the Packers went through in the 70s and 80s, how bad it was. So everybody, man, congratulations. After 30 years of just all over the place, winning the first Super Bowl, and next thing you know, you win it. It's emotional. Everybody was crying. Grown men, dogs were crying. I mean, everybody was so excited. It was amazing. It just really turned what the Green Bay Packers pathway was, because it was going off for a while, because they dominated in the late 60s. And it was a drought for a while, like I said, 30 years, but we put it back on track in the mid-90s.
Yeah, we've been taking that track now basically since the mid-90s for the last 30 years about. So, yeah, you definitely helped start that off, which is awesome. But speaking of the Super Bowl, I mean, I've always been curious everyone always says, I'm going to go to Disney World or whatever. But, what did you do, to celebrate that win, or as individually or as a team together? Like, how do you celebrate such a monumental part of your career? I almost feel like, you can't even live up to that. Like, once the game's over, how do you match that excitement with some kind of celebration or parade, party, something?
Well, for us, it was kind of funny because we planned a party to throw the fans off, like at this one place, and we was like, "Oh, we win, this where we'll be," but we did it at another place. Lo and behold, Packer fans are smart. They went over there early. I don't see no ticker tape. I don't see nothing. What? And somebody, hey, they're at this other hotel. We got what? All these people. I thought, how did they know? But seeing our fans, because we were in New Orleans, everybody got they like purple bees. Just when you see people like that are now in their 40s or 30s, when they were like teenagers or preteens, and you see them now, they're tweeting out pictures at that game when they were like 14 or 17. It was truly an amazing time. I mean, we had a great party. We had a party for our family, the players, and then it was it's a good question about the parade. Okay, the parade comes up. Well, we're doing a parade, blah, blah, blah. Do you want to go back? I said, what are my options? Well, you can, because I was in the Pro Bowl, you can leave directly from here and go right to Honolulu. Let me think about that. It's like 9 below there. I think I'm going. So the league was so excited because they wanted like the top players to come early to do press conferences, especially if you just won a Super Bowl. So Lee Rimmel, that's my guy. Bless him. He's like he ran out all the media for the Packers, long time historian, knows everything. He says, you get whatever you want. It won't look bad if you go to the Pro Bowl. I mean, you still got to go. You would have to go back to Green Bay, do a parade, and I can't get a flight. We can't get a flight for you for 2 days later. Then you would get to the Pro Bowl late. Blah blah. So I said, okay, I'll just leave there. But when I saw it, it was very emotional. It really was. I saw signs say 30 years of misery has ended. It was just something that's hard to describe. Now, I mean, I just can't believe it's been over 25 years. And every time we do our group chats, the ones that can work their phones, you wouldn't believe some of this stuff. The memories. You remember this? You remember what we ate that night? Because I hate spicy food. So, Jen, you got to believe. But check this out, Jen. You know what these guys did to me? They know I don't like spicy food, but we're in New Orleans.
I don't either, so I'm excited for this story.
High five to you. They know I love chili. Matter of fact, I got one of the best chili recipes. So I said, something don't look right about this chili. Because no one is looking at me. They're like, no eye contact. They gave it away. I'm a kid of 5. And I'm the favorite kid, of course. And my sister taught me little thing to network and look for. I said, man, y'all put something in that chili. No, it came from the kitchen. No, bring me a new. Well, you eat it. So he brought me a new bowl. They thought they had me, Jen. I was hungry too, and they know I love chili. I said, hey, waiter. And the guy was like, hey, what's going on? I said, I believe my friends put something in this, and I think y'all are in on it. He starts sweating. I say, take this stuff away. It's too hot. They all start laughing. Y'all not going to take me. No. And they said, just taste it. Spicy food is good. I say, yes, but I won't be able to go to the bathroom for 3 months. Leave me alone. Leave me with mild stuff. They tried to get me, but I wouldn't let them get me.
Yeah, no, mild all the way. I just can't handle the spice. I sweat, I tear.
No, can't do it. No.
Well, you outsmarted them, so good job on that one. Saved you some pain and suffering. And
I hope they see this podcast and let them know Don't try. We're too old for that, but it was that type of a team, though. It really was. We had a lot of fun. We really did. We had a lot of fun, and even now, what COVID has taught us that we need to check on each other while we're doing good, because there's so many people that passed away, but it also taught you got to improvise. Like doing this from 4 different locations is truly amazing. Otherwise, you guys will probably be in a studio, and I would have to go in and interact, but we can still get it done, so it works.
No, you're absolutely right about, because there's like the whole pandemic fatigue, and you're right, there are a lot of people passing away. It's important to kind of check in on your loved ones, and
yes.
I'll strain from that serious topic and from the chili.
Yeah.
You guys won that Super Bowl in a decade that was pretty much consumed by really great quarterback play. There's the Troy Aikmans, there's the Steve Youngs, and the John Elways.
Yes.
And you were a part of a really good defense. But from your perspective, in LeRoy Butler's eyes, who was the toughest guy to prepare for? Like if you see him on the schedule, you're like, oh, I'm not looking forward to that.
A few guys. Receiver first, Jerry Rice. And here's why. We have what we call the number tree. Like a slant is 2. If you run it out, it's a 5, or a comeback, or 7 is a post corner, post is an 8, a 9 is just a go, a 0 is like a hitch. You step off all of those routes, he runs them at the same speed, so I never knew what he was running. Most receivers, they'll jog off if they're not getting the ball. They'll jog off, and then they're running something short. If they take off running, it's a 9. Jerry Rice did it all. It was amazing. Running back, Barry Sanders. They said, what's it like tackling Barry Sanders? I said, I'll let you know the few times that I was. It's like being in a bathtub with a bar soap. You have it, and it's gone. You look for it, you got it again, and it's gone. And he would say, nice tackle, Roy Lee. He would score, hand the ball to the ref, and just jog off. High five. It's like, there's no swagger. Oh, the swagger was the 80 yards he ran. Oh, I get that. And to me, quarterback, Steve Young, anytime I played him, I had to prepare. He was, unparalleled smart. And he knew everything. The guy knew everything. I remember one time, it was amazing. We worked together at the 4-letter network, and we used to talk all the time. And he was in his cadence, like, blue 23, blue 23. And I start my little crawl up like I'm blitzing. He said, blue. And we both were mic'd up. Well, I know I was. I think he was too. He said, LeRoy, I know you're blitzing. No, he didn't say. Blue 3. Hey, go over here. Come on. Dad, I know you're cut. Ball snaps. He go back and I stack him. He said, I hate you. Told me you thought, because I started backing out, and the line, I think, didn't believe him. They thought he was just kind of guessing, because they could have slid the line towards me, and I would have got picked up, but I got through and sacked him. And I actually got an 8x10 of it, and but he's such a nice guy. I love him. He's just a great competitor. Because we go at it, but after the game, deuces, stay safe. But he was the one guy that I said, man, this guy's smart. He's just smart. He just knew areas in the rotation of the defense where the soft spots are. And some quarterbacks, even veteran quarterbacks, they're robotic based on the coaching they're getting. But once you're on the field, the coach, that's why they turn off you can't talk to them anymore. It's up to the player.
Yeah.
Improvise, make it work. We always want to play Monday morning quarterback. We just want the play to work. If the play works, we won't talk about it. If it doesn't, we debate it. It's okay. But Steve Young, man, he was smart. Yeah.
Yeah, I like hearing those stories, man, because you know, kind of like what I said earlier, it makes what you did that much more impressive, you know, because that was a decade that's, you know, a lot of people recognize as like the hard nose, you know, they were like you were actually able to get away with so much more during those times. It was a much more physical game.
Yep.
You know,
You're spot on. You are spot on, because in the 90s, it was 3 teams that dominated. It was other teams that won, but it was 3 teams that dominated. The Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco, because Dion was jumping from team to team, and the Green Bay Packers bust through there. Otherwise, it would have been Dallas, San Francisco in the playoffs or going to Super Bowl. But we broke in there and went to 2 Super Bowls right in that mid to late 90s. And we all enjoyed playing with each other. I mean, playing against each other. Because we go to like golf tournament. One of my best friends in the world is Michael Irvin. I love the guy. Him and Emmitt Smith. The one went to Miami and one went to Florida. So we already knew each other. So it was just, those teams were just, and me and Merton Hanks were very good friends. And I'll talk about Steve Young. And then Steve Mariucci, he was there in the 90s when we were going to the Super Bowl. So it was, the 90s was tough. It really was. It was only a few teams that were really battling it out. As a matter of fact, we started beating each other up so much, other teams started kind of leapfrogging over those 3 teams, and everything started to change going into the 2000s.
Well, you kind of brought up the leap, so obviously we're gonna have to talk about this one at some point. So I just kind of wanted to know, you know, as Reggie White, he's pitching you the ball, kind of what's going through your head? Because you just kind of mentioned to us you didn't think you were that fast. Did you know that you were gonna score? Was it just kind of you saw open field, or what was going on? And then did you know that you were gonna celebrate with the leap, or was it just kind of adrenaline taking over? And
it was all spontaneous. It really was. I just remembered, excuse me, that game being so cold. It was so much going around the conversation in the locker room, how cold the game was. And they were like, well, the field is going to be this way, this type of shoes. And I remember I caused a fumble. And the first thing when you cause a fumble, you want to pick it up. And I'm looking for the ball. I'm like, where's the ball? So out of the corner of my eye, I see Reggie. Now, 2 things go through my head real quick. Mike Holmgren always said he would come into the defensive meeting rooms. If you ever get a pick, fumble, never ladder it. Don't pick it. Don't do that because you'll fumble and get the ball back. Just fall down if you have to. Fine. So that pop, Reggie has, and he's struggling with some guys trying to tackle him. He's going to pitch it. Because we call eye contact like he's going to pitch it. So I'm running over there, and Tony Bennett, a first-round pick linebacker, he kind of falls. Him and Bryce pop. But it was really, when you see it on YouTube, they just fall because it's so slippery.
mm-hmm.
The field is frozen ice. But God kept your boy up. He had something waiting for me. I see he's going to pitch this ball. So I get it. And as I'm running down the sideline, Jim, I'm thinking to myself, Florida State days when we would do all this dancing. That'd be kind of lame. That really didn't happen. It's just funny. But as I'm running, I did say, I'm going to jump in these stands. Because when I was running, I saw the fans getting excited.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're running, you don't hear anything, you don't see anything. You got tunnel vision, like, and it's almost like you're outside your body watching yourself. This is amazing. This is what you dream of. For a defensive guy, scoring offensive guys do it all the time. When I get there, I see these guys, and I throw the ball down. I'm going to jump. I think it caught them by surprise, but it seemed as if watching it a bunch of times, they were expecting it because they see me coming because I hadn't stopped. The referee is running down with me like, what's he doing? So the security guy, they're like, they don't know what to do. So I run, I jump up, and this guy grabs me, and one of the guys spilled his beer. He said, man, you owe us a beer. It was so And then when I get down, I said, I got to get the ball. I got to go get the ball. Where's the ball? So I see it. The security guy was going to get it for me, but I got it. And so if you let it roll, you'll see Doug Evans come out. Then I do the weird dance. Don't watch. He leaves abruptly. He said, man, you smell like beer. He leaves. And then Favre comes out there with his coat on. This is all the way out on the field. Like, now you can't even come on the field when you celebrate. I mean, it was determining, was it a fumble or not, or was it a touchdown? Then it's a touchdown. I'll go over to the bench. Holmgren comes over to me and say, never do that again. I said, I want to see it on the replay, on the replay board. And when I saw it, I was like, wow, that's amazing. And the good thing about it was after all that, Robert Brooks sees it and makes it famous. Not only did he make it famous, he wrote a song about it called Jump in the Stands. When he made the song, he made Lambeau Leap blow up.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't do that song, I think it'll just be another celebration, not a big deal.
Okay.
So Robert Brooks made it famous, all caps. He was the guy, because he's for one, he scored a lot, so he did a lot of leaps. And he was a rapper and a producer. So they even shot a video of the leap jump in the stands. I couldn't make it because I was in Milwaukee getting my hair cut.
Oh.
Hey, listen, I don't mean to be a diva, but can y'all move this production? I can't do that without a haircut. I said, no, go ahead and shoot it. So Gilbert Brown was in it, and it was obviously, so shout out to Robert Brooks. Matter of fact, breaking news, me and Robert Brooks is actually writing the documentary for The Leap. I've not told anybody that. We're in the process of writing that up, and because the people need to know the history behind it, and him putting the video together, and him making it famous, and him trademarking it, protecting it, so no other team could jump. Other guys jump in the stand, but we didn't want them to call it their leap.
Yeah.
So way smart ahead of it. I mean, I love him, man. He's a great guy too, and I feel bad for him because the Super Bowl, him and George Kuntz hurt their knee, so they couldn't play in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this was a way to repay him when we have our meetings to kind of write our memories. I said, what made you even think about doing that song? He just said the Leap is famous. And he was like, Lambeau Leap. And, but the song is Jump in the Sand. He said, I'm going to put the first line in it. That the first idea came from LeRoy Butler, but it stuck to the wall like Velcro.
That's perfect.
Oh, bars. That's better than any rapper ever played. That's amazing. Who comes up with that? Because he's actually right. It did stick to the wall. But yeah, Robert Brooks is my guy.
I was actually gonna say, like, I don't know which Lambeau Leap. Like, obviously yours was like the first, but I don't know which one was funnier, like yours or John Kuhn's attempt, because yours was pretty funny. You lunged at the wall and you just kind of like you just stuck there.
I was like, help me, pull me up. I tell guys, I was on my good friend Charlie Barron.
I was gonna say, I think I watched that, so I know what you're gonna say.
About the wire, yeah.
That's my guy, and I did his podcast, and we rated some of the Packer jump.
Yeah,
You gotta go watch it. It's hilarious. So one of them that we didn't have time to, because we're doing a part 2 to that interview. And one of the things, we're trying to find the footage, but Gabe Wilkins had the worst one. Because we used to have this net, you pull up this net to catch the field goal ball, and then they get it back. He scored on a fumble, he picked it up, and Gabe's like 6'5", 300. He scores, he's excited, and he tries to run to do the leap, but he gets tangled in the net.
Oh, no.
Like wicked tuna. He's like flipping around. So the field goal unit is out that kicks the extra point. So he finally gets out. Then he attempts to do the leap. After everybody's in their seats, everybody's down. So people are like, what is he doing? And then he just like slipped on it like, 'cause it's like concrete, and just banged into the wall. It was so funny. He just went off. It was, I hope they find that footage because I was laughing so hard. He was laughing too, though. It was fun.
Yeah, it's always fun. Not like watching players do it, but see how they do it the first time. Like, are they going to get in there all the way, or they're going to trip, stumble, whatever. So it's always fun, and I'm sure you enjoy watching all of them and seeing how they do your leap.
No question. I mean, I remember when Brett did his first leap. I remember when Aaron Rodgers did his first. And what me and Charlie is going to do is talk about some of the good ones. And Amon Green, Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson.
Jordy,
that's my guy.
Listen, Greg Jennings had one that was like the Matrix. He jumps and he turns and sits on the wall. Then Driver did it. I wish I had that kind of.
Well, these guys had practice. They scored all the time. So.
That's right. Back me up, Jim. Thank you. And these guys were athletic. Driver was like a high jumper and pole vaulter. This guy was like 40-inch vertical. They would jump up. But I say, no, guys, go halfway up, let the fans pull you up. You sit on the wall, take a picture, click, and you come down. And now I have been, full disclosure, we must mention this. It has been a few players that are not ever doing it again. Jordy was one of those people because I think allegedly somebody grabbed him in the wrong spot. I don't know if it's true or not, but who knows? He's not the only one. But guys, but for the most part, it's an accident. I think about it. Your favorite player's coming towards you, and he points on the jump right there. You got to get rid of the nachos, get rid of the beer. You know, don't spit on your hands, but just get ready. Because you're also going to be on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the screenshot you need for your Facebook. So be ready. Don't be over there saying, hey, yeah, peanuts, hot pot. No. The Packers have scored. Get ready. There they come. So now people kind of know. It was a couple rookies that didn't do it and got booed. I didn't like that in a way because they don't really know. They say this leap stuff is lame. I don't want to do that. But fans, it's really for them. That's why the statue outside the pro shop.
Yep. I've Lambeau leaped into that a few times.
There you go. I was kind of glad I wasn't part of the statue. I wanted it to be about the fans. Let the fans be me and Robert, or me and any Packer. So that's the way it looks. So you can sit up there and you're the Packer player. That's the experience. Because people say, "How does it feel to do the leap?" You can go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. Can't score.
It's about 80,000 people short, but still fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, the fans are great.
Yeah, and now they have the Tide to Go too on the side. So if you get ketchup or anything on your jersey, they're ready to clean you up.
Randall Cobb did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I know that I saw it somewhere. I just can't remember the player.
Oh yeah, I was thinking of that.
It's gonna happen because you do surprise people, and I told you got to put it down. But
yeah.
Well, and if it's late enough in the game, a few beers and
it really does. Sometimes people look like they're shocked. Like, I can't believe, like, this is the first time I heard a guy jumps in the stand. No, we've been doing this since '93. But it's just when they didn't have fans, that's when you really missed it. I think it was, CBS did a story about no fans, and I was very emotional about it. I said, well, next year, 2021, when they scored two guys to do it, so make up for last year.
Yeah.
But that's when it really hit that our fans are different. I know every fan base is great. I applaud you. Our fan base is different because they're our owners. They're the ones that got the stock certificates, and they're the ones, the shareholders. So not seeing them was emotional. But to see some of them in the stands in the playoffs, that was rewarding.
Yeah, football without fans, I mean, just kind of not the same. Look, football's great, but the fans are such a huge part of that experience.
Eli, they may never do another leap ever because of
I hope No, yeah, I mean that sounds like a scary reality, but it's a good point. I mean, it might be at least a couple years before we could start seeing that again.
Yep.
But I just feel like since we've been talking about it, it would be a mistake to not play the leap at least one time throughout this interview. And I think we might have you looking for the football after the play, so this should be fun.
Down. Here's Evans back to throw on second down. They chase him out of the pocket. To screen. And he sets a screen up, and it's knocked down at the 38-yard line. A fumble. Tackle. Do the Packers have the ball? Apparently they do. And they're going to give it to LeRoy Butler goes to the touchdown. Is that a touchdown or not? Well, they don't know where to call it. Nobody wants to call anything. The officials are going to confer. Let's see what they're going to do here. I thought he was tackled. Did he fumble or did they get a touchdown? It is a touchdown for LeRoy Butler. Holy cow, and the fumble recovery. And the Packers go up 20-0.
Because Doug,
There's Favre in the coat.
yeah, that was. Did you see the guys falling?
I was looking at the guy trying to bring down Reggie White, just struggling.
Saw Bryce Pop fall on his face.
Yeah, just tripped right on his face.
It was slippery.
Yeah, it was December at Lambeau.
It was. And I'm surprised Reggie didn't fall because that field was solid ice. It was just frozen. I think it was like 17 below with the wind chill. I mean,
so even if you weren't going to leap into the stands, you were either going to do that or slide right into the edge of the stadium.
Yeah, that's right. That's hilarious. I always love seeing that. It brings back a lot of memories.
Yeah, well, it's definitely fun watching it. But, I mean, real quick when it comes to that weather, I would just imagine tackling someone, it probably just feels like you're landing on concrete right there, right? I mean, brutal. Yeah.
Robert Brooks helped me out because my fingers we wore gloves. He wore these scuba gloves, like divers, like deep sea divers that grab fish. He said, put these on. These good. I said, man, they're too thick. They're going to make my hands sweat. I told you he was smart. He had this spray that dries your hand. It's like a powder thing. You put that glove on, scuba glove. Your hands were amazing. Now, you had the little mitten thing. I said, if I ever pick it off, somebody can pull me down by it. So they put us the little things in our jersey, we put our hands in there, but your hands will be the first thing to freeze, really. But I talked to a guy. I love military, police, and firemen. They know all the tricks of the trade about weather. And our security guard, Jerry Parents, know I love military. So it was some big time real men in the locker room. And it was a pilot, not the flyover pilot, but it was a pilot there. I said, man, what are you doing? I think he was shocked that I asked him this. I said, what are you doing cold weather? He's like, huh? I'm in a warm plane. I said, but when it's cold, what do y'all do? I mean, he said, I'll tell you about our trainings. I said, they're training. I said, please. He was telling me that they had to go for sniper schools or whatever, underneath like a foot of snow. And you sit there for training for one shot. And you know your instructors, man, they taking you through it. He said, I put Vaseline all over my body. I said, Vaseline? Is that the same as petroleum gel? I'm from the South. He started laughing. He said, yeah, that's the same. It was funny. He started laughing. So I said, well, what? He said, I'm going to insulate my body with that all over. So the heat will go from my head. I said, oh. He said, yeah, if you insulate all the way to your neck, so that's why you'll take a helmet off, you see the smoke.
Yeah.
Keep the helmet on, it keeps you warm. And that insulates your body. Now you can put on a long sleeve. Sometimes guys will wear no sleeve. But if you keep putting on that petroleum jelly, now it'll kind of freeze for a while, but you'll stay warm. And you won't get frostbite or something like that. Because it really gets the ice bowl. Oh man, it was 7-8 degrees below. It was freezing, maybe even colder. Don't tweet us and say the real degrees for the ice bowl. We don't know. Okay? I wasn't even.
No one remembers.
I asked one of them on Jeopardy, didn't I? I asked one of you guys.
Yeah, I did actually, and we were like a little bit off.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But yeah, cold weather games, I was taught by Robert, just my fingers and those scuba gloves help.
Yeah, because for me, just being in Chicago, playing football outdoors in the winter, my fingers and toes, those would be the first to go.
Windy.
So, yeah. Now I'll know I got to buy myself some scuba gear.
Just for shoveling my driveway.
Exactly.
But Zach's in California. He doesn't understand that, but
hey, if it were up to me, I would be out there in the Midwest, and I would be embracing the snow. I want the snow.
You would not be in the snow with that perfect hair. Stop it.
I will. I'll throw a beanie. Hey, I swear, I'll get out there.
We're just having fun. It's okay.
I wanted to ask one more, kind of a football question.
Mm-hmm.
And this also ties into what a user on Twitter, Zach Shesky, man. He was curious too about Fritz Shurmur. He was kind of one of the architects pretty much behind that defense and what made you guys so successful.
Yeah.
What made him what made him tie that unit together? Like what, as a defensive coordinator, what was special about him?
That's another emotional topic for me, because if I ever, Lord willing, if I ever get in the Hall of Fame, he's part of my speech. Fritz Shurmur, to me, taught me a lot of lessons about big plays. I remember I was wearing a Jordan shirt, Michael Jordan shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you wear your own shirt? I said, I don't have one. He said, precisely, do something. And he walked away. Okay.
Damn.
Something. Okay. But he was the one that, when I got the phone call to move to safety from corner because they drafted Terrell Buckley, which was Ray Rhodes, had this idea that a safety, me and Pete Doherty did something with PackerNews.com. People can read that story. He wanted to move me closer to the line of scrimmage. I said, wait a minute. If I'm a corner, I'm not big enough to play safety. He said, no, it's not about size. But if you can cover the third wide receiver, I can disguise a little bit more. And then the next year, Fritz comes in. I said, oh, boy. He's going to move me deep. I'll be a cover two safety when I'm just average back there. And I remember in the meeting, he showed us all the game plans and all this stuff. He said, LeRoy, come see me. I said, oh, boy. Okay. Wait a minute. Is it a good meeting or a bad? Do I need a lawyer? He said, no, just come on. He was like, I love what they're doing with you. I want to build off of that if it's okay. Yes. Yes. So, yeah, go get Eugene Robinson so I don't have to be back there. I'm an average safety if I'm 15 to 20 yards deep. Full disclosure. But the closer I get, the better I become. I can do more stuff. And I remember I was sitting there, and Lee Rimmel, again, I love Lee. He said, you know what? 20 sacks, 20 interceptions, pretty good. I said, yeah. Who did that? He just walked off like, I don't believe it. Because back then, like, safeties were just deep. They just wait for interceptions. No one was really going after the quarterback. And when Ray Rhodes designed it, and then Fritz took it, and he made me the player that I am my whole career. Because he was just – and last thing about him, why he's different from most coaches, he would let us talk and get our opinion. What do you got like? You'd like to hear it from anybody. You talk freely. Well, I got a suggestion. I would like to blitz the quarterback. Reggie's like, I want to be on the right side because the left side I get double. But Sean Jones, no, I want to do a rip move, so I want to do it. He said, okay. And George Coons like, well, I want to do this, go in the A gap, and Bernardo wants to go on this side. And Brian Williams like, hey, I would love to cover the back out of the backfield on the weak side. Let Wayne go to the strong side. I can do that. And he got a plan from that. That's a great leader. That's a superior leader when he knows it's a group effort, not a dictatorship, but a democracy. That's why we were the number one defense, number one special team, number one offense when we won the Super Bowl. He would just talk to us. And this was way before the internet stuff. But he would like call and like leave us. We had our own phones at the stadium. He'd call, leave a message. You can listen to it. It would be him. Come see me. If you got something, come see me. And I don't think there'll ever be another Fritz Shurmur. He was just truly amazing because he really cared about his players and he loved us so much so that he let us help him write the game plans. I don't think you'll ever see that. You see it on offense when quarterbacks meet with coaches, not defending. No.
Yeah, it's like I feel like the perception of like most, at least defensive coaches, like nowadays, like they got to be the ones that like they got to like command the room. They got to have everyone's attention. They got to be the guy at the front of the room. But from what you're saying, I mean, it sounds like he was the opposite of that. Like he was the strong leader that you guys needed defensively, but he was also someone that was going to take your ideas into account. Your everything.
He just made it work with that. Whatever you're good at. Keith McKenzie, there's a name for people who need to Google. All I want to do is go after the quarterback. Great. So on third down, you're our specialty guy. This is before the word sub package was around. Each guy had a role. So on third down, McKenzie would get one-on-ones with the right tackle because Reggie was on the other side. Then they would flip-flop. He'd get one-on-one with a back or a tight end, split him and sack the quarterback. It all worked.
Yeah, look, if you're doing what you're best at.
Yeah, and that was good for him to architect and put this thing together. So we build a great foundation.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And LeRoy, we want to respect your time. I know we could talk all day. We have so many questions, but I guess to wrap it up, we just kind of want to know what are the things that you enjoy doing now? I know you retired in, I think it was 2002. So kind of what does your life look like after football? What do you enjoy doing?
Well, I got a lot going on. I started, and that's a great question, because that's when I got into Leap Vodka. I got a call from a Viking player, and I don't know if you want me to say his name or not, but well,
yeah.
But Chad Greenway called me, and we had a great conversation about branding and doing some things in the future. And he told me he had his own vodka in Minnesota with Grey Duck. I said, cool, man. That'd be great to, I'm just listening. He said, well, you should start a Leap. I said, ooh, I like that. So once we went through, and this was in the pandemic in like November, and we were talking, and Steve and Jason and Chris and Plucker, and we started thinking about it, putting it together. Next thing you know, we were ready to rock and roll. And now it's like the number one vodka in the state of Wisconsin. And I want to exclusively do it in Wisconsin first before I go national with it, or eventually we'll be national. But as you saw my son, I love being a dad, man. When that quarantine hit, I was in heaven because all my kids, I have 4 daughters. They all live in Florida. I got a 35, 25, 24, and 21. They're all in Florida. And I got a 16, 17, and my son is 10. He's my favorite. Don't tell him. It forced wherever you are to quarantine because everybody got schedules. So that was great. But I have my own cooking stuff I'm developing. I told y'all me and Charlie Barons are going to be doing some stuff. I'm developing Leap 36 Studios because I want to do that documentary. And I want to do a production company about giving people a platform and a place to shoot their podcasts or videos. I'm trying to put that together, and you just lease it out and make it really nice so you can do that. And my last thing I'm working on having my own restaurant because I'm developing these recipes, and I got like 4 cookbooks that'll be out by the end of the year, and so I do a lot of stuff, and I'm on the radio from 10 to 2, the Big Show Network, and I do Spectrum on Mondays, and after that, my free time I spend it with you.
That's what we like to hear.
Oh yeah, we appreciate.
We greatly appreciate that.
Well, if I ever make the Hall of Fame, I'll come back on.
When?
Okay.
Yeah.
When?
Yeah, you're right. When? Next year.
Yeah, it'll be next year. If it's not next year, then Open Book is going to have something to say about it.
Yeah.
They'll listen to us.
Yeah.
Good thing about it, you guys are young enough to wait until I finally get in. If you're my age, it needs to happen soon. But no, really, I will come back. I really enjoyed it. You guys were so nice. It was great to hear how you guys organically got together. Those are stories that eventually, when this has been going for years, y'all need to write a book about that to document it. Because I see Jen been writing notes and stuff. But this would be a great book for people to read. How do you start a business and you don't really know people? You just got to have an idea, some time, and somebody willing to just reach out to somebody like LeRoy Butler. Come on and talk for an hour. Who cares? Oh, yeah. So I applaud you guys for that. And before I get any messages, because my daughter keeps hearing me say guy, and I told her I already talked to Jen.
Yeah.
And I say you guys, I mean everyone. Otherwise, she wanted me to say you guys and you young lady. So that's that green kid that's gluten-free, great food, and she got a 6-pack. She drink milk that don't look like milk. And I'm like, man, don't eat my mac and cheese. Come on.
Yeah, no, we all just did a show yesterday drafting chocolate, so we are not like that at all.
Yeah.
She made lots of chocolate, but she's the one that really helps my schedule because it could be all over the place. So she's great.
Yeah.
So thank you guys very much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, LeRoy. You're the absolute man.
Thank you so much.
And I know we talked about should we do like maybe half an hour, but it obviously went way over that time, and we really appreciate you.
I got to make it worse when I tell my other colleagues to come on. They got enough space to talk about whatever they want.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, we're more than ready.
They don't come on.
For any of your teammates, we're definitely ready for anyone.
I'll send Jen like a list. Who do you want?
Yeah, and be like, which ones don't we want? But
everybody. It'll be guys. Guys will do it. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Come on.
And we always appreciate when anybody, players, personnel, whoever, takes their time to do this. And you obviously being one of them, this was a fantastic conversation. I love just kind of hearing things that you read about, but being able to hear the stories from the actual players is always a treat.
Well, thank you guys. Oh, last thing before we go. How did y'all come up with the name?
It was kind of just a group thing.
I like it.
It based a little bit off on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Book of Eli. So I was looking at trying to go into the playbook, look at game film, stuff like that, and Open Book just kind of happened.
Okay. I like it.
When we first started the show, the whole premise was like, ask us anything. You know, we're an open book. We're gonna answer your questions. That was like back in like late August, maybe early September. And now the show's kind of evolved to the point where we're having LeRoy Butler here.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you guys very much. I'll see you when I get in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. See you next year then. Perfect.
Sounds good. Appreciate you.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Gets out, throws it, Cobb, touchdown!
Rams are awfully quiet.
Rodgers, surveying, fires, that's caught, Randall Cobb into Chicago territory. Randall Cobb inside the 20-yard line. Randall Cobb is going to score!